My name's George. I was the director of rugby for Sheffield Medics Rugby Club from 2019 to 2020.
My name's Tom. I've been the treasurer for Sheffield Medics Rugby Club for 3 seasons. So I think we started using it 2 years ago, and they've been 2 happy years. And yeah, it's something that we continue to use and plan to use into the future. We used various sort of methods to collect money. A few years ago, we were using cash, which obviously has its problems. And then we used another couple of payment apps, one called Circle, one called Tilt. And to be honest, they all had their quite significant pitfalls, especially when chasing up 100 separate payments. You can imagine the difficulty with cash, and then with some other payment types where you can't track the payments as easily. Yeah. As treasurer, when I was sort of collecting the money, it was difficult to track where the money was coming from. So, for example, in 1 week for the rugby club, there might be like up to 100 different payments. So on a Tuesday, we want everyone to pay for training. On a Saturday, we want everyone to pay for a match. And then we might have tickets for an event or a charity sort of event as well. And on all the other apps, there was no way to track who'd paid into which particular area. So with Collective, you can sort of see the exact pot for each event and can see the names of each player who's paid under that. So that's, I'd say, probably the main benefit for us. Normally what will happen is on, say, a Tuesday afternoon with training on a Tuesday evening, we'll create a pot called, Tuesday training. And then there's a link from that I can then put into the Facebook group that then goes to, say however many people are coming to training. And then if there's particular examples of people that aren't a Facebook group or on a separate group chat, we can sort of copy and paste the link on there. And then there's also the sort of final option of in person. If someone wants to get access to the link quickly, I can show them the QR code and then they can go straight to the pot. What is good about Collective is that the player who's paying doesn't have to have the app. They just literally have to have access to a phone that can click on a link.
Yeah.
So I think anything that minimizes the friction between sort of being asked to pay for something and then actually paying like the fee, anything that reduces like the friction to do that is great. And with Collective, I think once I've sent the link out, I think the player has to only really click maybe twice, once to put in their details and once to confirm the payment. So that's really easy. It can happen there and then, rather than other ones where you have to like download an app, put in your demographics, put in your card details. It's very smooth.
What I like about Collective is you know what you're paying for when the link comes about, because before you would just pay into the same account through the app, and you can also have multiple things going on one day. So for, let's say on a Saturday, like we said, we're paying for subs, paying for my social ticket that evening. We might be paying in a deposit for a bit of stash, but you know what you've paid for. Because if I'm right in saying on my Apple Pay, it also, and on my statement, it comes out as well what it was. So I know what I've paid for, where the money's gone to the club. If I need proof to the treasurer that I've paid for said jumper, I paid for it, mate, give me it. Not, oh yeah, you paid 50 quid in a few weeks ago, but that's gone missing on beers or something. No, you know what you paid for. What you see is what you get, really, and it's great.
As someone that's in control of the account, I can put a description on, say, whatever payment, and then you can go back and look in time. So obviously we train every Tuesday, but I can put a date against each Tuesday training, so I can check whatever week how many people are paid, how many people were there, and yeah, can sort of track payments so much easier. It's a good point that George made, actually. Like in the other apps we used, you paid to an account. So like as an individual, as a player, you just paid to the Medics Rugby account. Whereas with Collective, you pay into an actual pot with a description, so you know exactly what you're paying for.
Yeah.
And so it makes it a lot easier to track. People can log in to the sort of club central account and can create their own pot. So for example, there was a couple of weeks where I was away, So I delegated someone, can I put you in charge with collecting money for the training and the matches and the socials, and they can log in and they can create the pot.
Yeah.
And what's good about it is that there's not sort of any risk of anything happening to that money, because the club bank account is directly linked to the app.
Yeah.
So you can only withdraw to that one account. So the money that goes into the collective can only be withdrawn to the club rugby account.
Yeah.
So there's sort of is easily trackable, and it feels like a safe app to use.
Yeah.
If I can chip in, I think it's dangerously easy. For an example, back just before Christmas, the club bought some beanie hats, and they arrived at the end of January, and I don't remember paying for one. But turns out, because Collective is so easy, I did pay for one via Apple Pay. Easy, seamless, some would say. You literally just get a link on the Facebook group or via email. And I loved it because you'd open it on your browser and you just pay by Apple Pay. You wouldn't have to put in your card, wouldn't have to, quick, let me go grab my wallet. It just made life at the rugby club so much easier. So much easier. Yeah, they love it. We were trying to organise a rugby tour and hopefully going to try and organise one this summer. And everything will still be through Collective, because we can have money for the tour, money for the flights, money for the food, money for the stash. It can all be divided on the app, which makes it much easier. And also doesn't give responsibility just to one sole person, because we can have multiple people logged on, and you can see where the money is, rather than, I don't know, Tom having so much to deal with that not that he's going to get confused, but he might be like, oh no, where's that money that should have been there? It makes running a sports club seamlessly easy. You don't have to worry about being in debt or worrying about people not paying, and then that could put a fixture or a bit of kit at risk.
Yeah,
it's just easy.
Yeah, I'd say it's exactly the same. If you're someone that runs a sports club and you are at times worried about getting money and collecting off people and, funding a club, if that's something that's, important to anyone that runs a sports club, then Collective is exactly what you want to be using.